What is a job that requires little effort, but pays very well? My brother-in-law is a security guard for a mineral mine. Mostly walks around and reads books. He calls himself a paid witness in case a crime occurs. Makes good money for a decently leisurely job. Security guard in any remote area pays well but is very boring. Heck, even security guards in the city don't do a whole lot of work. So many times they are caught sleeping. I'm a limo driver. I make $35 per hour driving from point A to point B. Are you also bald by any chance? Hitman? Apparently being one of my coworkers. Yes, since we carry the workload like fucking champs. I forget the title, but basically escort at government facilities that require a security clearance. Pays like 80-90K and all you have to do is walk non-cleared people like, say, the janitor, around the building and make sure they don't steal anything. If you can pass a detailed background check, you're in. A friend used to be a rice grader. He would go through a warehouse and inspect batches of rice by putting a handful in a tray and seeing how many grains were broken, how consistent they were, and how much non-rice shit was present. I asked him how it was quantified. He said something along the lines of, "Ike man, you just kinda decide?" He had zero qualifications or experience in the rice field. It paid $25 per hour, but that's damn good to just make up the rules of rice grading if you ask me. I'm now suddenly worried about the quality of my rice. Drawbridge operator. The job itself is crazy easy, it's literally a button pusher, and there's no prerequisite training or experience. Our local operator just retired, and because he was town employee his salary was public knowledge. Pulled down 6-12-year relationship, and, most days, I feel like I get to hang out and laugh with my friends all day. Hasn't felt like work for the last few years. They leave looking and feeling great, which makes me feel great. I used to draw a lot of bridges when I was a kid. Nobody ever paid me for it, so define little effort. I work in mining, which can be hard work. But if you start in heavy equipment operation it isn't. You drive with limited other traffic or you sit with a joystick and load trucks. It usually starts at $30 per hour but can be as low as $20. And you usually get really long weekends. 5 on 5 off. 7 on 7 off. 28 on 14 off. 14 on 14 off. To get into specialized stuff it takes skill, but to drive a haul truck around all day doesn't. And $60, $80 an hour if specialized at the right place. With lots of saying, I am Groot and getting paid $55 million. At a massage school, I had a job as a massage model. My task was to lie down for a few hours and receive massages while the kids completed their assignments or took their tests. It paid £30 per hour, which isn't much but was better than the previous office job I had, which paid £10. Just to be clear, this wasn't a full-time position. It was only for maybe 3 or 4 months, was quite informal, and probably lasted between 4 and 10 hours a week, depending on how busy the school was that week. Reddit video player developer. Austin City Council just very quietly gave themselves a raise to $116,688 and do absolutely nothing. So, I'm going with that. I'm a barber. School was $18,000 for 1,500 hours of training, 9 months full-time. I spent the first 7 years of my career struggling to learn and produce consistently good work, but now I make $80 per hour, about $112,000 annually. My clients and I have a 12-year relationship, and, most days, I feel like I get to hang out and laugh with my friends all day. Hasn't felt like work for the last few years. They leave looking and feeling great, which makes me feel great. I honestly feel guilty that teachers, nurses, and other vital workers who spent so much time and money on their education often earn half of what I do. So serious reply. Look into purchasing roles in most corporations. They manage their suppliers, negotiate contracts, place POs, etc. I would say they are optimal in terms of pay per effort. Plus they usually get perks like more travel, holiday goodies from their suppliers, stable work hours, job security, etc. There was a job at Lockheed Martin or Boeing requiring no skills but paid $90,000 annually. Plus their generous 401k and benefits blah blah blah. It was a crazy job. A man would crawl inside a fuel pod for a plane and scrub it out. The pod was very cramped and feels distinctly like being buried alive, so think claustrophobic. The tools were a toothbrush and a flashlight. You had to stay zen because it was super easy to panic and start flailing wanting to get out. They always did it in pairs so your partner talks you out of any situation and keeps you company, and you take turns. Management understood this was a psychologically taxing job. Guy I knew who did it drank himself to sleep at night. He didn't like the job. Electrician, it's literally light work. One of my buddies who's an X-ray technician said some days he has 1 hour of actual work out of an 8 hours shift. When I commented he's got it good, he said he gets paid for what he knows, not what he does. I suspect most jobs that pay you well without much actual work is the same. You are being paid for your expertise. Overnight concierge at luxury apartment, condo buildings in metropolitan areas. The morning and afternoon shifts you're dealing with incoming packages most of the day, sorting, labeling and fetching them. Overnight barely handles any of that, if at all. It's just a matter of being fine with having a schedule like that or putting up with such a boring job. Pay might not be as well as a lot of the other jobs ITT, but relative to the work performed, it pays you for sitting at a desk from 12 a.m., 8 a.m. doing next to nothing. I don't know the job title unfortunately, but my sister got a job with some environmental protection agency overseeing Verizon putting up cell towers near woods/mountains/lakes. She was getting paid $50 per hour, had an awesome company truck with a generous food, hotel stipend and was working in beautiful scenic areas where the rich go to get away. All she did was make sure the Verizon workers didn't endanger or kill or harass the wildlife in the area. At the end of the day she would just mark off a checklist. Her day consisted of watching whatever she wanted on her phone, occasionally glancing at the workers, and then eating a 5-star meal at a 5-star hotel. She left the job because she got bored easily. I would have done just fine at that job and was jealous AF lol. You did need a bachelor's in biology though. I make around $35 per hour driving an escort car for a swimming pool company. All I do is drive my car behind the pool to its new home and assist with lane changes, turns. It's pretty great. Get to listen to podcasts and audiobooks all day. Entry-level security work pays decently and is very easy. There is some cost for getting certified, but it was around $100 for me in total when I did it 9 months ago. Most government contracting jobs just have to be willing to travel frequently. Was a contractor for the military for a year in Kuwait. Easiest job, watched a lot of Netflix, paid a lot of money but not worth having no life outside of work. Those people that give out the samples at Costco get paid very well for a job where they do very little, and a lot of them don't even have to know how to cook to get hired. They're usually hiring, too. It's not great payout right, but for the work, it's a lot of money. I work in commercial construction sales and 90% of my job is just taking people out for lunch and dinners, on company dime, and finding out what projects they are working on, then quoting our products where they would apply on the job. I am going to make $118K this year, plus a company truck that I use as my personal vehicle. All gas and maintenance is paid for. I might work 25 hours a week. That said, I lack a lot of purpose in my job and really wish I did something that challenged me more. Great company and benefits, but I just feel burnt out. Same burnout I felt when I was making $27K a year in college. It's strange. You make more money and you live a fancier lifestyle, but in the end the struggles are the same. You end up desiring something else, regardless of how much you make. Freelance 3D animator. It requires a little bit to learn. But once you're over the first small hump, and it is pretty small, You can get jobs working for lawyers doing accident reconstruction or factories doing machine operation videos and make bank for doing very little. Obviously you can hone your skills more and go on to work in games, movies and other stuff, but honestly the core that hire you to do technical animations tend to have bottomless pockets, somewhat low production standards, and ask very few questions of where your hours go.